So here's the hot take. The funnel team comp has normalized into a part of the metagame, and it is by no means the dominant strategy that needs to be beat anymore, but it has a unique set of tools that can punish certain drafts if executed correctly. When I first looked at the 8.11 patch and examined the games being played on it, my initial thoughts were that you would want to counterpick your jungler as much as possible so that you are able to get the appropriate tools should your opponent be attempting a funnel strategy. Turns out I was pretty wrong about that. You would want Nocturne. This was my thinking is that you would want Nocturne in a normal scenario, whereas ultimate and mid game strengths help establish large amounts of map control. But should your opponent go for funnel composition, you would suddenly find yourself in a serious want of a champion that was not gated by a 2 minute long ultimate to start attacking the map and denying resources from the opposing hypercarry. While patch 8.11 is known for being the big patch that reworked the crit itemization, this strategy was technically viable since patch 8.9, where the jungle rework removed gating monster experience and placed a large bounty on the Scuttle Crab. Musty and Taric was all the rage in the solo queue, but its high ban rate in solo queue meant that people were not able to get all too much practice on it, and Nunu Carters quickly became the first iteration of the funnel strategy to gain popularity in scrims. The LPL would quickly attempt to replicate this with Mordekaiser being the funneling tool for the likes of bruisers like Shyvana and Nocturne. Those strategies never did find all that much success on the main stage, with the only wins the strategy having in the first week of competitive play would be Taric Mastery over Nunu and Karthus in the LCK. The Taric Mastery combination, for all the hype that it got from being known as the Chinese boosting strategy, did not live up to the hype in competitive play. With its win rate currently sitting at 35% in competitive games globally, it seemed more like a high risk cheese rather than a powerhouse strategy. Susceptible to disruption, weak to the likes of a Lulu Polymorph shutting you down, too many things had to go right for the champion to pop off, and its 65% win rate in solo queue was not able to be translated successfully over to competitive game. Instead, the Kaiser final, with the support pairings Brom in particular became the first to rise to prominence for the hypercarry funnel strategy, particularly in the EU LCS, where teams were able to find multiple wins with it. G2 in particular would go on a 4 game streak, simply abusing the absurdity of having Kai'Sa at 3 completed items at 20 minutes. The LCK seemed sold on the final strategy, however, and they had some almost bizarre attempts at replicating it with the likes of Graves and Brom being the centerpiece of the final strategy. While Graves was able to get large amounts of gold, he was not able to output the insane amounts of damage that Kai'Sa would be able to, and tanks past a certain point would be able to be effectively in his face and soak up his damage. I think the KT versus Jin match was a very good example of this, where despite receiving all the funneling for 30 minutes in the game, the Mundo just stands in his face and they can't kill him. So what was a game dynamic in this case that had the funneling team side lanes were the holder under 20 minutes changed into one where they had to hit the timing window before the hyper carry grave started to lose relevance in the game. In the games I watched where this was attempted, this window proved too tight and narrow and the strategy floundered. Zyra Khan became the next big adaptation for the hyper carry funnel strategy, with teams looking at Kai'Sa and realizing that having access to Zyra Khan pairing will not only give you a very good centerpiece for the funnel strategy, but a pair that could reflex into the bottom lane as well. While the viability of Zyra and Rakan went down over time in the bottom lane, with more mages being picked up over there, the payoffs in the faster clear speed and having the Feather Storm as an insurance policy made this final strategy with the best one with a 56 global with a 56% global win rate, the highest win rate amongst all the final strategies to date. Up to this point, the weaknesses of the final was that having two champions who were usually responsible for controlling the map in the early stages of the game, simply farm, meant that the side lanes were left alone and were vulnerable to exploitation. Getting access to either strong mid or jungle combination to contest and deny jungle farm away from the opponents was one way and the initial way that people thought of how you could fight against this final strategy. But teams were quickly realizing that crushing a side lane and taking the tier 1 turret will prove to be a much more effective solution. If the tier 1 turret falls, the opposing team gets access to the jungle much more easily, and 2 lanes worth of champions can now steal camps away from the hyper carry that is trying to be the beneficiary of the funnel. You can't get funneled if there's nothing to funnel into you. If you're jungling on a champion gated by the long ultimate cooldown and the need to be level 6, this approach to the game, by simply diving inside the turret once you hit those power points, would be a very effective solution against the funnel composition. Even in the likes of the RMS, they would actually develop double global bot lanes with Karthus and Shen as a means of shutting down the final duo by either having the superior skirmish due to the globals in the mid lane, or being able to collapse on the top side of the map instantly with the press of 2 buttons and break the turret there post 8 minutes when these ultimates are available. It would almost look like the final composition, for all the attention it was getting, would finally be dead. Until I saw the match between Snake in the LPL recently, where things seem to have gone full circle, where Snake ran Jace as the recipient of the final. Well, I did talk about the Gigabyte Marines playing this against us in the VCS. This was a successful example of it, and the Jace aggressively attacked the opponent's mid lane and jungler. This was a very different approach to the hyper carry strategy that wanted to sit back and farm. This was a kill lane duo that they were playing with the Jace and the Taric. Invading early and getting kills on the opponent mid lane and jungler, they then rotated up to the top lane to dive the opponent Mundo at 7 minutes. While having Jace be the recipient of the final has the drawback of him not being a true hyper carry, he gets access to the spikes a lot faster, and this seems to be similar to the Gravesprong strategy that was not all too successful in the LCK, only the window of attack for this duo is a lot larger. I'm thinking about 7 minutes to about 23 minutes. That's a 16-minute window where you can really break the game open. Still, the technicality of the execution for this is going to be a lot more demanding than the likes of Zaya and Rakan, and it's going to be more situational as well. But this seems to be opening up the next step in the evolution of the final strategy. How to beat it? Definitely being able to outskill it or stave off the aggression in the mid lane by having things that can match them. Having a combo such as maybe Camille and Galio would definitely help. But this adaptation will make going for a final strategy viable once again, not as something that you blind pick, but against team compositions that lack the skirmishing and disruption power to stop the Jace from walking all over your jungle.